They tell us what challenges they are facing, and at the end of the call I have to tell them we are not the right people to help you.
Oh, that you have to be straightforward as well.
Exactly.
#1 story brand marketing agency in Germany. Wow.
I think responsibility starts with being honest. Clients of ours have increased their numbers of leads by 1000% within the blink of a second. So you're being bombarded with thousands of marketing messages every day.
It's an overload for our brain, I would say.
They think each individual detail is crucially important to their customers. This is misconception. If we're just talking about ourselves in each and every detail, and we don't reach their emotional triggers, we don't reach them in their world. Yeah.
What is this Mittelstand?
The German Mittelstand is the powerhouse of the German economy.
What's the difference in branding or in building a story for a medium-sized company and a large-sized company?
Is position yourself as the guide instead of being the hero of the story. Because your clients should be the hero of the story. And then you'll be more successful.
That's quite a great pitch. So, hello people of Munich. Today we have a wonderful guest, Ramón König. He's going to entertain us with not only his charm, but also how storytelling works in 2026, especially in business. So let's welcome Ramón König. Hi, Ramón.
Hi, Vicky. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure, actually. So we have been planning for this episode for quite a while, and finally it has happened, and I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, I'm very excited as well. As I said, thanks for having me. I'm expecting a lot from today, from this talk, especially a lot of questions, and I'm gonna try my best to answer all of them.
Oh, great. Poor Ramon is here in our house for quite a while, like for about an hour, and we were playing with the lights. And I have already tested his patience, and I'm sorry for that, extremely sorry for that. So let's dive in. So Ramon, you represent the company Caesar & Harrison, which is a #1 story brand marketing agency in Germany. Wow, man, that's quite a lot of achievement in this age. And so how do you see that? And tell me more about the Caesar & Harrison so that a layman or a caveman can understand.
Yeah, actually you can compress it quite quickly.
Okay.
A lot of companies have fantastic products and services, but they're struggling to reach their customers with their marketing message and to cut through the noise of advertising and information overloads customers face every day. So we help those companies with strategic storytelling to cut through that noise so companies can actually reach their customers again. Customers will listen, will understand, and will buy eventually. So that helps companies to increase their revenue, to grow their business, and at the end of the day, to be more successful.
That's quite an interesting job. So that means it comes with a lot of responsibility. You owe your customer increase their revenue. So how do you see this challenge? Because it's not an easy task. You may have to deal with multiple industries, and also each person has their own issue to solve. So I hope that it's quite a challenge.
It is a challenge, actually, and you know, each company is very unique. Each client is very unique, and we are actually working across many industries. So I think it's 15 if I count them all, industries that we worked in, and from the IT sector to construction to heating industry to the retail industry to wealth management. So there's a lot of industries that we've worked in, but our, let's say, approach works in all of them the same way, because we treat all our clients very individually, and you have to dive into their world to actually understand their challenges. So the responsibility comes first, because you asked about it, with understanding your client's needs and issues, their challenges, and how you can actually as a company help them. Because some people I'm talking to, they call us, they book an appointment, they tell us what challenges they're facing, and at the end of the call I have to tell them we are not the right people to help you.
Oh, that you have to be straightforward as well.
Exactly. And I think honesty is always credited for, let's say, because in some cases we are not the right people to help.
Yeah, be it in any field, I would agree with you.
Yeah. So in that field as well. So I think responsibility starts with being honest.
Okay.
And for that, you have to dive into the world of your lead or person who is interested in your service. You have to elaborate what their challenges are, and then at the end of the day, you have to make a call. Okay. Whether we can help them or not. Okay. And I think, they also give us credit for it. And if we can't help, maybe we know people who can.
And that's quite a great decision making that you need to make it out there.
Yeah. So, but I think at the end of the day, it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Both ways. Yeah.
So just now you mentioned that you need to understand the client and understand the people who are working in that particular industry. So I heard from a common friend that you are not only interested in the business, but you also have quite a lot of other interests, including the politics. And have you ever felt that this background has ever helped you in the storytelling business? And also, please tell our viewers more about that political background.
Yeah, okay, well, that's a big question, I have to say. I can talk about politics for hours and days.
Yeah, I know, but we have to be very careful.
Exactly. I don't think I have to be too careful when it comes to political statements. I think others should be a bit more. But I could talk about politics for hours. Today, that's not the main topic. But to answer your question, so, there were two questions in it. First, I think that my interest in politics helps me in the storytelling business and especially working with people in that case. And yes, I do think so. Because for me, politics is about talking to people, understanding their needs, understanding their wishes, and then as political representatives to fulfill them in a way that works for most of the population. Okay. So I think this is the mission politics should execute, let's say. And then to the background. So I studied political science. I did my bachelor's in Regensburg, also in the US.
US too?
Yes, for a long
Great place to learn politics.
Yes, completely different viewpoint. Okay. For me, this was really an epiphany moment to be in, lectures in the United States, especially when it comes to international politics. And so me coming from a European, from a German background, it was quite something. Then I did my master's in Munich and in Copenhagen, and so I kind of put together different viewpoints. And I also started working in Brussels for GIZ as a trainee, the biggest development organization in Europe. And so that was really like a passionate topic for me, let's say. Okay. And after that, I transitioned, and I wanted to see more of the private industry and the private sector, especially consulting. So I changed to PwC, to one of the big fours, also with obviously a touch point to the public sector in my consulting work. And afterwards, I wanted to dive into politics again. So what was on my mind was doing a PhD.
Okay. Oh, PhD in politics.
PhD in politics.
That's new information to me. PhD in politics, because I come from an engineering background, and my family, we are from, most of my family members are from medical background. So we know that there are quite a lot of PhDs in biology or in engineering, but in politics, it's quite a new information to me.
Yeah, and actually, it's a big challenge because you put in a lot of work. It takes a couple of years to do a PhD in politics, so you have to be very dedicated. On top, what you're researching is actually living material, let's say, because politics changes every day. And once you start doing research on something, it's better that it doesn't change on the go. I mean, depends on the research, but it makes it a bit more easy. And maybe if it takes you 3 years to do a PhD and then you're doing your papers and so on, then the subject you're researching on already changed completely. So maybe you're a bit behind. Anyway, so that's just on the side.
That's just side talk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, then I was thinking, okay, what am I gonna do at the same time as I'm doing my PhD, which I'm not doing anymore because I put it to the side. And I started working for Caesar and Harrison, which is also a family company, family-owned company, meaning I'm working with my father and my brother. The three of us we're working together in this family business.
Did your father founded the company?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that's great. That's quite a legacy.
Yeah, and it's really, really exciting to kind of step into the shoes of the next generation and continue this mission of the company, helping German Mittelstand, mainly medium-sized companies, to grow and to also survive in these challenging times of our European, German political situation, let's say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned your company is focusing mainly on the German Mittelstand. So can you explain a bit about it?
Yeah.
What is this Mittelstand?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I would say to start off, the German Mittelstand is the powerhouse of the German economy. Unlike other countries who are composed, or other countries' economies, of multiple very, very large companies and many, many small companies, Germany has a more diverse economy size, let's say, especially the Mittelstand, which is the medium-sized companies making up the center between big international players and small companies, which are the foundation, obviously, of any economy. The German Mittelstand is the powerhouse, and it means it's thousands and thousands of companies based in Germany, grown in Germany, owned, many of them by a family legacy also. Many of those companies are focusing on a very, very specific product or service, which often is very unique. And many of those companies actually provide maybe a single piece in a, let's say, in a machinery, which is only produced by this one specific company of the Mittelstand, but is being exported into the world. And so this is the powerhouse of the German economy, because they're a large number of medium-sized companies specified on individual services or products which nobody else does. And actually they're the backbone of our economy, and they're employing millions of people. And in the, let's say, economical situation Germany is facing at the moment, a lot of those companies are facing challenges as well. And they need to find new ways to stand their ground.
Okay. So you mainly focus on this Mittelstand companies, and then you built a story brand or a story framework, what I have seen in your website. A side note, I'm completely away from the marketing field, so I may ask you all the blunt questions.
Please.
So that our viewers also understand it, like, because many of my friends, they really want to start a business, and sometimes I felt like they're stuck, like they have cool ideas, but they don't know how to start, how to market, or how to bring in this German marketing environment. So I am expecting that this conversation will really help them. And so that's the side note. And so you focus on the medium size or the small size companies, and you develop a story brand framework for them. And why don't you focus on the big companies? And what's the difference in branding or in building a story for a medium-sized company and a large-sized company?
So first of all, I would say there's no difference.
Okay.
Obviously, the mechanisms in very large companies are different to medium-sized companies, especially when it comes to rebranding, when it comes to building a shift in communication. I'm going to elaborate on that. The mechanisms are very different because in large companies you have a lot of stakeholders involved, and then from all the way from the top, maybe from the board or from the CEO down to the marketing team, and then the heads of departments and so on and so forth. So you have to bring a lot of stakeholders together to rally them around an idea of making a change. So that's first of all very challenging.
Okay.
Medium-sized companies, on the other hand, especially when they're owned by, for example, like family-owned, their let's say decision-making processes are much quicker, and it's easier to rally the so-called stakeholders around that idea. Companies that we work with range from single person companies. So
It's quite interesting.
yes, so from, let's say, from the smallest, not in revenue, but in employees,
Okay.
all the way up to about 3,500 employees. So Mittelstand companies, which making billions of revenue and having a lot of stakeholders to include.
Okay.
Why do I say it's there is no difference in making this shift that we are focusing on? Our framework that we are using works the same for each company, and the difficulty is to gain support for that idea, because it's coming with a shift in how would you say, a shift in mindset. Yes, thank you. So I'm just picking the central part of the framework, which is a shift in perspective. Most companies are mainly in their advertising, in their media, talking about themselves. It's completely normal.
Okay.
Because they know a lot about themselves and they know every detail of their product, of their service, of everything. So they think each individual detail is crucially important to their customers. But this is a misconception. It's not. For the customers, the most important thing is themselves and their story.
Yeah, of course.
So the framework, now it seems obvious.
It's a simple idea, but it seems very important.
It seems very important because companies, they're not talking to companies, they're talking to people.
Yes.
And these people who go out there in the market and they're looking for a solution maybe or a product, and they're looking for this product or this solution because they're actually looking for a solution for their challenge or for their problem. Otherwise, they wouldn't be on this journey. And so we have to give them an answer to their problem, to actually reach them in their world and their emotional state in which they're in. And if we don't do that as a company, if we're just talking about ourselves in each and every detail, then we don't reach their emotional triggers. We don't reach them in their world. And so most companies talk about themselves in every detail, and what we are telling them to do, or we're helping them with, in that case, if they're willing to do so, is position yourself as the guide instead of being the hero of the story, because your clients should be the hero of the story, and then you'll be more successful.
That's quite a great pitch, I would say, because now you're making the real customer of your customer as the hero of the story, or their needs has to come first. Am I right? Please correct me.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe I can stretch it out a bit.
Yeah, please.
So, as I said earlier, we are supporting our clients to be more supportive for their clients, and also helping them to be able to talk to also strangers, which might become a lead, a prospect, in a way that they are actually interested in the service. So what companies need to do is they have to be able to dive into the emotional and also factual world of their customers. And nowadays, this is becoming more and more difficult because there's so much advertising going on. I don't know about you,
Yes.
but on
In
your
all,
phone, how
all
many
platforms,
notifications?
in all platforms, not really just earlier, I'm a 90s kid, so earlier you just had one platform. When you watch a TV, okay, in between you get a lot of advertisements.
Yeah.
But now, be it YouTube, Insta, Twitter, or whatever it is,
WhatsApp, email.
WhatsApp, email, everywhere, like tons and tons of information is flowing around.
And I mean, this is just on your phone. You're getting hundreds of notifications every day, and you keep them in your pocket. On top, maybe you have two phones. You have a work phone and you have a private phone. So you get private messages, which all of them are calling for your attention, because some of them are important, others are less important. And then you also have your work side. And also this side is calling for your attention because you maybe have to pay attention to a client project, or maybe you're developing a new idea and it has to be fast. So you're already facing these two worlds just digitally. On top, you're part of this physical world, let's say, and you're walking through the city and there's advertisement everywhere. So you're being bombarded with thousands of marketing messages every day. And
it's an overload for our brain, I would say, because there are a lot of information. Say, for example, if I want to buy, what I can closely relate is some skincare product.
Yeah.
So if
Actually,
I want
that's a great example.
if I want to buy a moisturizing cream, then if I go to the DM Roseman, then I can see lots of brands, and that too with all kinds of niacinamide, be it retinol or be it collagen or be whatever name it, you get it. And then there are multiple brands, Korean, US, Indian, whatever brands that you can find it all. And it's quite a mess, and you need to take you need to think and you need to pick a decision. So many times when I have in my other aspects of life, when I have to make a lot of decisions, be it my personal life or be it my work, and then coming here and buying a product, again I have to make a very tough choice because all of them are competing,
for your attention.
for our attention, and then it's quite an overload for the brain. So do you think that when we try to reduce this overload, and when a company it tries to meet the need of the people and reach this person emotionally, then that brand can be successful?
More successful, definitely. So yes, it shows in the results we have achieved with our clients. Or in that case, I should say they achieved them. We helped them on the way, and it actually pays off. So just to give a brief overview of different industries, different clients, different challenges, but just by making this shift to make their clients the hero of the story and not themselves, and with them actually addressing them on a emotional level, let's say, cutting through that noise of advertising. Clients of ours have increased their numbers of leads by 1,000% within the blink of a second, or tripled their revenue, or also changing the communication when going to a trade fair, for example. It doesn't only work online, it also works offline. In a sense, going to a trade fair, it's the same situation like going to DM. All these brands are competing for your attention, and if you communicate, and with that I mean having slogans, having text which is actually addressing your clients, you gain more leads. And another client of ours went to a trade fair, changed the communication, making their clients the hero of the story, and they gathered hundreds of leads within 3 days just by making this shift in perspective. And so it does pay off, and we can track it. It's possible. We do A/B testing. We are implementing the right tools to do so online. And at the end of the day, it seems like a no-brainer. But it also is a decision. It is a decision of the responsible people to take this shift from being the hero themselves to making their clients the hero.
Okay.
And with that, I'm not saying, in German there is a saying, der Kunde ist König.
Oh my God. For my non-German viewers, König means the king.
Exactly. So
So the customer is the king.
customer is
Yeah.
the king. And most companies say that, but they don't live it.
So let's have a break now.
Yeah.
And we'll come back to you again.